I'm Chuck Fisher, an author and artist, and I design pop-up books. It's my pleasure to take part in the Smithsonian Institution Library's exhibition, Paper Engineering, Fold, Pull, Pop, and Turn, at the National Museum of American History. Pop-up books cover many subjects. The earliest known examples of books with movable parts date to the 14th century. Just as with those books, modern pop-up books are assembled by hand. From concept to printing, it takes about 18 months to create a new pop-up book. To show you how a pop-up book is created, I'll take you through the process of creating one of the pop-ups in my book, Angels. This book was inspired by my fascination with angels and their images in art and literature. I start by conducting research at museums and libraries such as the Cooper Hewitt National Design Museum in New York City. Based on my research, I create an outline, which includes ideas for pop-ups, an overall visual style for the book, and a draft of the text. Once the outline is complete, I present it to my editor for approval. I hire a writer to assist me with the text. The next step is to sketch ideas for the pop-ups. This pop-up is based on the story of Archangel Gabriel. I collaborate with the paper engineer, Bruce Foster. He figures out how to make my sketches literally pop up. Since Bruce lives in Texas and I'm in New York City, most of our work is done by email and overnight shipping. When the sketch is complete, I scan and send it to Bruce.
I'm Bruce Foster. I'm a paper engineer and I've designed over 35 pop-up books. Through experience and experimentation, I can see pop-ups that are unique, original, and sturdy at the same time. The books need to be sturdy and durable because of the moving parts. I also try to include an element of surprise, something unexpected that will make the reader smile. Chuck and I work together on one pop-up at a time. These two-page pop-ups are called a spread. Pop-up books are generally 6 to 8 spreads because of the bulk of the paper necessary to make the pop-ups. With Angels, I begin by using Chuck's sketch to create a full-scale engineered mock-up called a white paper dummy. I sketch various thumbnails to create the white paper dummy, which brings Chuck's sketch to life. Then I cut paper to build models of the pop-up's major components, opening and closing the model often to make sure the pop-up stays flat and remains inside the margins of the closed book. I deconstruct the model by removing each piece of paper and tracing its outline on tissue paper. These outlines are templates used for the final artwork. I build a more refined model based on the tracings and make adjustments to a mechanism or shape if needed. For example, in the Gabriel pop-up, Chuck created strong diagonal rays of light symbolizing a message coming from the heavens. I cut a thin strip of paper to represent the rays, but the paper bent after repeated openings and closings. The problem was solved with flexible gold cord.
Bruce sends me the white dummy along with tracings of each element of the pop-up. I use these templates to design and paint the original art. I transfer the outlines to primed illustration board before the painting begins. Both the front and back of each piece is designed and painted. The paintings for each double-page spread take 4 to 6 weeks to complete. For the Gabriel pop-up, I created 10 individual paintings in the style of the Italian Renaissance. Throughout the painting process, I make color copies of each piece and mount them on the white dummy to make certain everything works perfectly. Once the paintings are finished, high-resolution scans are made of the original art. At the same time, I choose dozens of historical images to accompany the text. Color proof sheets are created from the art scans for me to check for color, clarity, contrast, and scale. Upon approval, the scans are sent to Bruce to prepare a full-scale color mock-up.
I draw precise outlines of each piece of final art on the computer, called die lines, and then include all folds on the paper represented by dotted lines. I place as many pieces of the pop-ups on one sheet of paper as possible to be efficient and limit paper waste. The result is called a nesting sheet, up to 40 by 27 inches. The nesting sheet files are sent to the printer to create a color proof for approval. From those files, I build a new dummy the printer will use as a guide when assembling the books later.
As Bruce is laying out the nesting sheets, I begin work on the cover design. I work closely with my publisher's design department to make sure images and fonts used on the covers and the spine of the book are graphically strong and reflect the contents of the book. Once the cover design is approved, it's sent to the printer along with the final nesting sheet layouts. The nesting sheet files are used to make a hammered steel and wood die that will cut out each individual piece of the pop-up. There are only a handful of printers in the world with the ability to print and assemble pop-up books. Most of them are located in Asia due to the large skilled workforce that is required to construct each book by hand. Teams of workers fold, glue, and put together the pieces of the pop-up to create one spread at a time. Each spread is assembled and stored until all pages of the book are complete. Separately, the front, spine, and back cover images are glued to thick cardboard to create the hard cover of the book. A complete set of spreads is glued back to back, then glued between the covers of the book. The finished books are shipped overseas. After this 18-month process, another new pop-up book appears in the stores, ready to be enjoyed by all.